Hey everyone, it's Friday, June 18th. The time right now is 7:42 p.m. and the temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. And I'm currently walking south along Yonge Street. And that is Bloor Street just up ahead. And I think for this one, I'll head west on Bloor and then go past through the Yorkville neighborhood. And from there, perhaps I'll head over to the Annex. Sorry, I just got a little preoccupied watching something off to the side there. So this is Yonge and Bloor. And I'm now heading west along the north side of Bloor Street West. And this is a part of Bloor known as the Mink Mile.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a fair amount of shoppers lined up to get into Aritzia. And a look up at One Bloor East. So this is a rather high-end shopping neighborhood. And those stores are operating at a limited capacity, and I think that gentleman at the end of the line just indicated that that was the last of the lineup for tonight. And seeing as it's 7:44, I'm guessing 8 p.m. is when they close. And there is Italy at the Manulife Center. So I think I'll head north up Bay here for a few blocks, then we'll head through the Yorkville Village area. There's a few bars and patios I'm interested in seeing right now. And I didn't really have any ideas for tonight's walk. I just got back from doing an e-scooter live stream. And on my computer, I had the Ken Continuum channel open, and he was doing a live stream, and I saw him heading this way. And although I was last through this area a couple of weeks ago, that was before a lot of the restrictions were lifted, and it was after midnight. And I was going in the other direction, and I don't believe I passed through the part of Yorkville that we're about to check out. There's a look south on Bay. And this would be just the second Friday that patio dining is allowed. And that would go back to March when they were open for just a couple of weeks. And before that, I think it was November. So the city's been rather starved for that sort of thing. There's a look along Cumberland Street. You know what? Let's go along Cumberland. I was thinking of going north one more block.
Lighter?
Ability to like do things.
And I've just devised a plan to walk through here. I'll head north up Bellair Street for a block, and then we'll head along Yorkville, and then I'll head down the York Lanes and come back to this intersection. Then I'll walk down to Bloor and then head towards the Annex. So this street has been entirely closed off to dining. There's sassafras. And it's good to see people back at Yamamoto. Or Yamoto. That's a teppanyaki grill. I've not been there for a few years, but I don't think they did very well as a takeout only restaurant. Yeah, it looks like I might be on the wrong side of the street here. There's quite a bit of interesting artwork on the sidewalk. Over on this side, looks like a lot of positive messages. Generally speaking. And this is Yorkville Avenue.
It's like the amount of cocoa.
There's never a shortage of rather nice cars in this area.
Exactly.
Yeah, the one that always parked at the gate. So that's the first time I've ever seen this car. I've never seen
Here's Old York Lane.
I'm sorry, I have no cash on this.
There's the Oxley. I remember dining there back in November. And it's south on Old York Lane.
But it doesn't.
This is a nice area to dine outside and keep away from the cars.
And even though I've been some
There's only a handful of places I ever go to in Yorkville. And one of them is just on the right here. There's a look up at Hemingway's. They've got a rather extensive patio upstairs.
How is this?
And even though we're only on step one of the reopening, it's rather cool to see some life breathed back into the city.
more than I don't remember how much they give you.
You walked away. You walked away. You did walk.
All right, let's head through here down to Bloor.
How the hell you lost? See? You.
As you can tell, this isn't one of my more informational walks. I've talked about the history of this place and the buildings in the past. I just kind of want to get a feel for the vibe on this Friday night or Friday evening. And I'm thinking I might even record another walk right after this. And it's back to Bloor Street West and the Mink Mile. So I guess from here I'll just continue west and we'll walk maybe to Bloor and Bathurst. I can save Koreatown for another night. These people are all lined up for winners.
No. Listen, I thought.
That's got to be the store that people have been lining up the most for. Oh, that cyclist just randomly stopped in the middle of the bike lane. So things will be a bit quieter until we get to Spadina. There's the former home of the flagship Club Monaco. I'll have to come down here next Friday and maybe do a live stream through this area. Church of the Redeemer. I'm gonna get hung up at this light here. I've seen these driving around, urban scanner. And I think that's actually checking the air quality. It looks kind of like one of those Google Street View cars. It's certainly a nice evening to be out on two wheels. That's it. Speed really fast just to ride your brakes for a while. And there's the Royal Ontario Museum. So I've left Yorkville and entered the Annex.
So zinc is a vitamin.
Certainly a lot quieter on this part, but that would do, or be due to the lack of shopping and patios. I think this block here on the right used to be one of those older style low-rise buildings with a number of interesting retail shops. And we've got the Royal Conservatory of Music on the left. That's part of the University of Toronto. Okay. And coming up is Bedford Road. And there's Varsity Stadium. And here's St. George subway station. You can wave to the Mayor of Toronto. Maybe tell him to do something about the ridiculous e-scooter ban the city has in place if you ever see him.
It's always.
I was hitting, it was me, the big guy.
I also think I'll need to do a Friday. I don't usually go out on Saturday nights, but possibly a Saturday night walk up Yonge Street at some point. And take that in with the current restrictions lifted. There's just a completely different feeling in the city as opposed to how it was a week ago. It would have been a week and a day since everything reopened. Not quite everything, but at least as far as outdoor dining goes. For whatever reason, they are being super cautious with opening everything else up and lifting more of the restrictions. There's the Bathurst Shoe Museum and a guy on an e-scooter. Now that I have one, I'm always kind of wondering what model people have whenever I see one. There's a look north up St. George Street, and there's another exit or entrance to the station here. And a few blocks to the west here is the Madison Pub. This is a bit of a college university area. That's probably the most popular pub in the city for that crowd. Although who knows, maybe the Brunny will return. So I'm a bit surprised this Fox and the Fiddle, or former Fox and the Fiddle, doesn't have a patio set up. It doesn't even appear to be open. And here is Huron Street. There's something I'm not used to seeing. A couple of high-rises at that part of Bloor. That would be Bloor and Bathurst, where I'm heading. And those would be the rental units that are part of the Honest Ed's redevelopment over in Mirvish Village. And here's where things are going to pick up again. Although, we're going to take a little detour and swing past the Madison here. They've got a number of outdoor patios on this property. Although it might be a bit early for peak Madison crowd.
Which is me saying like, oh, I dream of hugging my friends. I dream of...
So this is a pub that consists of a few rather nice older homes kind of chained together. There's also a boutique hotel on the property. I wonder if they've pushed the piano outside to let Piano Man do his thing. I just wanted to check that out.
A lot of it is just us.
I've spent more than my fair share of time at that place. I remember going there once in my late 20s. That was probably around 13 or 14 years ago. And I was there with friends who we used to go there quite regularly on weekend nights, and we commented on how old we felt being around that crowd. Can't imagine what I'd feel like now if I went there. I guess during the daytime it's just a regular pub. And I think it was so popular that they even implemented a 21-year-old age restriction just because they had no problems filling up on any weekday night or a weekend night. I think the idea behind that was a slightly older crowd had slightly more money to spend and behaved slightly better. I'm not really sure. And here we are, Spadina and Bloor. So this would be the main section of the annex.
No.
I'll be able to get across. Spadina Station is just to the north there on Spadina Road. So it's definitely a totally different vibe than Yorkville.
A second. It opens up for you. I will call.
We haven't walked on it.
There's a Wild Wing. I think this used to be a Puck and Wing, or Puck and Wings. There's a Burrito Banditos. That chain splintered off of the Burrito Boys chain. I can't tell a difference between the two.
Canadian? How about you?
Wait. Click.
Like fuck.
So they're not really doing the sidewalk patio thing here. I guess the Cafe TO program Doesn't cover the annex.
Yeah, I admit to that. The
There's the old James Joyce pub. Now a pizzeria.
Like really experienced the trip for the Bloor Avenue, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be home in.
And it's the old home of the Brunswick House, which unfortunately became a Rexall, but fortunately has a chance to develop into something new. Across the street is Future Bistro, often called Future Bakery. And someone mentioned that I walked past it a few times and didn't even bring it up. Some of these more common routes that I cover. I don't always talk about all the same places every time, but I used to talk about that place a fair bit. I remember going to a Queen Street West location way back in the 90s at some point. That would no longer be there. They're quite famous for their baked treats. Yeah, it's good to see their patio busy.
Bro, there's no dining, so it's literally just this.
There's the L Furniture Warehouse. That's a discount pub that's quite popular. It looks like the Victory Cafe has some sidewalk seating. And I believe the same people own the Crafty Coyote, which is right across the street. That place is quite busy. There's a look at the Victory's outdoor setup. And the old Victory Cafe used to be over in Mirvish Village. And there's Popper's Pub. They're owned by the same people who own the Madison Pub. And that place does a great rooftop patio. I mentioned this the last time I walked through here, but I find it kind of amazing that a few years ago, this was an Aroma Cafe. That side was a Second Cup, and that side was a Starbucks. And if you came here to get a table, get a cup of coffee or a snack, you would be really struggling to find a spot on most days. They're all quite busy, and now there are no cafes on that street corner. And another cafe, the Green Beanery, went under. And that one was run by a climate change denier. Well, that izakaya looks pretty neat. I don't think I've ever been there. And that Popeyes used to be a Korean restaurant way back when. And straight ahead is Koreatown. There's a look at the new rental buildings going up at Mervish Village. It used to be Honest Ed's. And there's actually a strike straight ahead for the wine rack. So rather than head north here into Bathurst Station, I'm just going to walk to the next entrance. There's the Pizza featured in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Can I come in with this, please?
Workers are on strike. Shop at the LCBO instead.
The wine shop, I think it's the wine rack, are encouraging people to shop at the provincially run LCBO. That's a first. And here we are at Markham Street, so I'm gonna head north into Bathurst Station. As I said, I'll save Koreatown for another evening, and I'll probably link that up by heading through the Ossington and Bloor area. And this Korean restaurant here is probably the biggest menu I've ever seen at any restaurant. It is enormous. Okay, it's time to throw my mask on. And I'll probably go record another walk. Let's head down to the subway platform. Debating, should I do Queen Street and the entertainment area? Or should I just do Yonge Street? They'd both be kind of cliche, popular choices. Let me get out my transit pass. Hopefully it's not raining. So I'm gonna head a few blocks or a few stops to the east of here to St. George, and then hop on a southbound train. And the good thing about that is it doesn't matter where on the platform you wait, as they're stacked platforms, so if you go to one end or the other, it doesn't really matter. Whereas at Bloor-Yonge, I'd want to go to the far east end of the platform. I'm always kind of thinking ahead like that. It's just one of my quirks, I guess. I just saw some people. I think they went into there. My camera seems to be pointing straight up for some reason. So this is the Line 2 eastbound subway platform. I'm guessing a train's coming soon because it's quite busy. And I guessed correctly. So I'd like to thank you for watching this walk through Yorkville and the Annex neighborhood. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. If you wish to support the channel, there are links to Patreon in the description. And there's also channel memberships available on my YouTube page itself. All right, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.
The next station is Spadina Station.